Hi, I'm Paul Eby. Welcome to these Advent Reflections. As I promised, we're going to walk through the genealogy that appears in the first chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel. It's the genealogy of Jesus Christ. And to be sure, Matthew's purpose in relating this genealogy is to prove that Jesus is the line of King David, that he is the Davidic king that the prophets foretold. However, there's also hidden within this genealogy a history of God's work throughout all the history of Israel. How God brought the people of Israel to the point where he could send the Messiah. So let's begin by actually reading the gospel. It begins, the book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac, and Isaac the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers, and Judah the father of Perez and Zerah by Tamar, and Perez the father of Hezron, and Hezron the father of Ram, and Ram the father of Amminadab, and Amminadab the father of Nahshon, and Nahshon the father of Salmon, and Salmon the father of Boaz by Rahab, and Boaz the father of Obed by Ruth, and Obed the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of David the king. And David was the father of Solomon by the wife of Uriah. And Solomon the father of Rehoboam, and Rehoboam the father of Abijah, and Abijah the father of Asaph, and Asaph the father of Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat the father of Joram, and Joram the father of Uzziah, and Uzziah the father of Jotham, and Jotham the father of Ahaz, and Ahaz the father of Hezekiah, and Hezekiah the father of Manasseh, and Manasseh the father of Amos, and Amos the father of Josiah, and Josiah the father of Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the deportation to Babylon. And after the deportation to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, and Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel, and Zerubbabel the father of Abuid, and Abuid the father of Eliakim, and Eliakim the father of Azor, and Azor the father of Zadok, and Zadok the father of Achim, and Achim the father of Eliud, and Eliud the father of Eleazar, and Eleazar the father of Mathan, and Mathan the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom Jesus was born, who is called the Christ. So all the generations from Abraham to David were 14 generations, and from David to the deportation to Babylon, 14 generations, and from the deportation to Babylon to the Christ, 14 generations. Wow, a lot of names. A lot of names we don't recognize, a lot of names that are frankly almost unpronounceable. But this is the story of how God prepares us to meet Christ. And so we're going to delve into these characters, not all of them certainly, for there's 42, but selected ones, one by one, to tease out what it was God was doing in their life and how that can mean to us today to prepare us to meet Christ on Christmas morning. Now, this book of genealogy, it begins with the book of genealogy. In Greek, that would say Biblios Genesios. And it's the same beginning that the book of Genesis begins, because it can be translated as well, the book of Genesis. We see it, this same phrase in Greek one more time in the 5th chapter of Genesis, which begins a genealogy of Adam. And so Matthew is connecting this moment of time, the advent, the coming of the Messiah, the Christ, with Genesis, the beginning of all creation, and Adam, who is the beginning of the human race. Suggesting, perhaps, that this Christ, this Messiah, is a new beginning. He goes on to say that the son of, this is about the Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. But David comes after Abraham. Why would he do that? Well, the prophets foretold that there would be a Messiah, the Christ. That wasn't anything new, but that he would be a new David. And that this would be a fulfillment of God's promise to David that someone from his line would reign forever on his throne. And that's really the major point that St. Matthew wants to make. He wants to prove that Jesus Christ is the Son of David. He is the person about whom the prophets foretold and about whom God spoke when he promised to David that his dynasty would reign forever. Jeremiah, in chapter 23 of his book, he predicted or foretold that a righteous branch of David would rule wisely with justice and save the Jewish people. Ezekiel also said he would bring back the exiles with David my servant as their prince forever. But Jesus is also the son of Abraham. Abraham was the one chosen by God, called apart from his people with a special mission, a mission that promised blessing to all the families of the earth. Now, since Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden for their first sin, the human race has been living in sin and exile from God, and in a certain sense at enmity with one another. And so Matthew's point again is that something new is happening and that something is going to repair this damage that has occurred. So today I would ask you to think about this genealogy in the sense that God arranged all of this to bring about the Savior, that God is in charge of history. Do I believe that God is in charge of my history? Do I believe that He is active in my life? How can I make that belief stronger? Make it more a reality in how I live my day-to-day life. Tomorrow we'll talk about Abraham. Thank you. See you then.